Hey guys, Yulia here. So today is a very exciting day because we are doing a garden tour, not in my garden. So a friend of mine graciously agreed to show off her garden and let us film it. I have been in this garden a number of times and I absolutely adore it. This garden is not designed by me, but I really appreciate the aesthetic, the way everything is executed, the number of plants that are here that are just so special. Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. This is the front yard, and I have a photo that my friend showed me what it looked like before she started working on the garden, so I will throw that up on the screen. But basically there's a lot of ground cover like pachysandra, there's a gravel path. I will go over in details about all the plants here when we go full circle around the house. There is a Kusa dogwood on my right. That is beautiful plant, blooms around May time. It is just set fruit. But there's just so many little plants over that way, so I'm just going to go ahead and start moving. And things like this, like little elements of reds that she incorporated in the garden because there's a lot of green here. This garden is a lot of shade, and in shade we usually are resorted to using a lot of greens, but incorporating some of the reds really brightens it up. And by the way, Michael is helping me today, so he's usually doing much better job than I do filming. There's another pot right here. There's coleus, there's sweet potato vine that is kind of trailing on the ground. And I just wanted to show quickly this very simple planting with container planting. There is a red caladium with some foxtail ferns. I love the clean lines of these planters. Now the house, I am not 100% sure of the style of the house. I think it's mid-century maybe, but that clean look. There's a very generous entrance right here, very generous size steps. I just love this whole inviting, welcoming feel of the space. There is a rue that is planted right up against the house. Love the colors together. I'm actually going to swing around and show you this one plant. Now this is their neighbor's plant, but I love how it's incorporated in the garden of my friend. Now this is umbrella pine, or Steatopodus verticillata. And this plant is just so cool looking, you guys. It is rather slow growing in our area, but in some areas they grow a little bit faster. They have very large needles and provide that texture that like nothing else in the garden or no other conifer can. Now there is a hedge of arborvitae right here. These are, I believe, green giants. Again, this is the neighbor's property, but it's incorporated so well in this driveway here. And I just wanted to talk about this feature here. This is espaliered maple, which is just incredible. I think my friend told me that she bought it straight in the nursery. There's an alarm going off. That's okay. She bought it straight in the nursery in this planter. And this, if you could just come over a little bit closer, show the detail at how it's tied to the trellis here. It's just an amazing idea. If you have a very limited space in your garden and you want 3 trees, and especially maple trees, to do something like this is incredible. Now this will have to be pruned at some point, and I would say you can treat it as a bonsai. So in bonsai planting, you prune both the top and the bottom, so the roots and the foliar growth and the branch growth, so the plant continues to thrive. So she told me that she will do that at some point. We may do a video on that. I'm just so stunned by the architectural detail of this feature here, and it's just an amazing idea. So I guess you can do that with any tree. It is a temporary display, of course, because as these trees continue to grow, if you don't prune them, you know, they grow out of space, but beautiful. They're beautiful pots with coleus. Love the foliage colors on these. The storage idea for trash is really well executed. I'm always looking for great ideas for storage of trash containers, because it's like one of the things that is unattractive, but we have to get rid of our trash, and to hide them really well it's a great feat. They're incorporated a small vegetable garden, and I love just the use of space in this garden is just so smart. This is just 2 feet raised bed, and there's tomatoes, there's string beans, chives, sage, just beautiful. And the way that some of the divisions in the gardens are created with these screens. So this is a copper screen going in here, and it's just designed beautifully. It's all custom. Just the ideas in here are numerous. Now, as we move right along here, this, yes, if you can pan and show a little bit more of the detail on this. So this is functional, so it's hiding some electrical stuff here. But you would never know because you're paying attention to how beautiful this is. And as it ages, it has this patina that's gorgeous. Now, this is the sunny part of the garden, and they build this raised bed because there's a quiet bit of a grade change as you walk from the road into the space. So elevating this bed is a great idea because it gives you more space to plant. Now, the lilies, of course, are in the full bloom. As you guys remember, I just did a video on lilies. And they're beautiful. She does have a smoke bush in the back, the royal purple, that she says that she keeps trimming because they do get a little bit out of control. Oh, actually, let me show you the Persian shield. This is one of my favorite plants. They do really well in part shade and shade locations. There's lamb's ear, some catmint, there's some irises, the bee balm. I hope my mic is working okay, because I feel like sometimes it's a little patchy. So there is no irrigation in this garden. She waters everything by hand, and in our climate, so we are in New Jersey, zone 6. We get consistent rains. We actually had a huge storm last night. We don't really need a lot of irrigation unless there is a drought coming. So there are irrigation heads right here, and you pretty much water as needed. And the gardens look so lush, even without any of the drip irrigation. Oh, there's some gomphrena that she mentioned that she grew from seed. And I did sort of a preview garden tour with her last week, which was so much fun, you guys, because we've been all locked up and not being able to talk to our friends about gardens, and just to be able to get out here and see this beautiful garden and talk to someone about it is fantastic. Now this is, I believe that's the Casablanca lily, the same ones that I have in my garden. Oops, almost walked into this veggie pots. She has some planters right here, the fabric ones with peppers. And I guess the air circulation is really great in these containers here. She did have to cover them with a net. I guess the critters are really getting to it. Just wanted to show you this beautiful 9-bark. As you guys know, I'm promoting a lot of natives because they're beautiful, they're beneficial for the environment. So the 9-bark is one of them. Just gorgeous plant, beautiful leaves, blooms with white flowers in May, and it's super hardy. It's hardy to zone 2. So if you live in Siberia, this is the plant for you. And then right here, as we move right along, there is some creeping phlox. This is Abelia. This is the variegated type of Abelia, and I know usually we're used to seeing the green one. I love how this highlights the whole bed. Like any plant that has a yellow variegation is just gorgeous. This is a bluebeard that blooms in September. So blue and this color look so beautiful together. This is almost of a cutting garden. Right here she has zinnias. Look at these nymphophillas, you guys. They are beautiful. Some dahlias blooming right here. There's so many little details in this garden that I absolutely adore. And this is probably the part where it's starting to get shady. And she has this beautiful liriope hedge outlining these ingenious boxes for air conditioning units. I mean, look at the detail and the design on these. It's like pieces of art, and you would never think that they're here to hide air conditioning units. They're incorporated so well in the garden. They're kind of unique, but they're similar in a way. There is a beautiful elderberry right here in the back. Love the texture of that plant, and the solid green right here with that elderberry look gorgeous together. There's a paperbark maple behind there. Sorry, we had to pause for a bit because the neighbors started mowing their lawn. They may continue, so we may have to pause again. But since we have a little window, I'm just going to start talking about the flowers. These right here are asparagus ferns, and I just love how she incorporated them in the seating area. You can bring them inside for the winter. They make an excellent houseplant. I have one, I love it. So we are entering the shady part of the garden here. And I just wanted to talk about this plant a little bit. This is a yellow wax bells. It is an unusual plant and quite rarely seen in the gardens. That's why I wanted to mention it. It is about to bloom. It has little yellow flowers when it blooms, but beautiful texture for shady gardens. Whoops, walked into a rock. If I could just zoom on paperbark maple a little bit. I love the structure of this tree. The bark is amazing. One of my most favorites. It's a medium-sized tree, has a winter interest, which few trees have. Highly recommend. If you see it, definitely get it for your garden. Right here, there's a number of hydrangeas that she has. I love that little adorable statue of a bird. How sweet is that? Just love the little details in the garden. In small gardens like this, speaking of a size, in our area, this is considered a small garden. If you live in, let's say, London or a metropolitan area, this will be a huge garden. So really the size of the garden depends on the area where you live. And this is also a lawn-free garden, which I know you guys asked about a lot. So there's a lot of ideas for lawn-free, low-maintenance garden here. So as we move right along, I just wanted to talk about this oak leaf hydrangeas. This is Snowflake, and oak leaf hydrangeas have a number of different cultivars, and Snowflake is one of them. Love the panicles on this one. The most beautiful, graceful plant. And we had a storm yesterday, so everything is sort of down, but I love how this one looks. There are 3 pots here, so beautifully used. Some red pops of color. Again, that green and red, if you look on the color wheel, they're the opposite colors. So they create a lot of good tension and contrast in the garden. There's a bird feeding station right here, and gorgeous fountain that has like the most trickling, soothing sound. I just wanted to let the plane pass The planes are back, you guys. Remember how in my videos there would be a plane like every 2 minutes and then they stopped, and now they're kind of coming back. So right here, I just wanted to show you, I don't know if this is easier here. So this stone wall that you see, it used to be flat, and my friend had a lot of water issues, kind of like gushing down or standing, so they decided to tier it, to create tiers in the garden. So you could see the little walls right there, and they're holding the different parts of the bed together much better, and actually looks much better, a lot of more architectural element to it. This hosta caught my eye when I was here last time. This is called Curly Fries, and I want it. I am getting this hosta somewhere. Love it. There's of course a lot of Asclepias in the garden. So this is all shade garden. And by the way, you guys, I will post as many plants from this garden as I can in the description down below, so you can refer to that if you do have a shady garden. This is a great inspiration right here. There's tons of ferns, tons of hostas. I do have all the cultivar names of these hostas, so definitely refer to the description down below for the names. There's a beautiful caladium in the pot right there. That is actually from my garden. I grew as corms, and I had extra. Whenever I have extras, you just have to give them away so other people can enjoy them instead of stashing them in your garden. Again, lots of beautiful hostas. Mike is pointing to these beautiful trees right here. And I love the way they incorporated these wooden circles right here as a raised bed. Definitely a great idea. If you're taking a tree down, you can leave these and repurpose them. The hostas right here are just beautifully incorporated in little pots, and the sizes of them, look at these, beautiful. We may have to pause again, sorry about that. So let's continue. So a lot of this garden is hosta garden, ferns, there's Hakinakloa, Carexes, and she has a lot of trees here. There's an oak, there's a linden, there's a hickory, and they're just these beautiful grand trees that provide so much shade. But the garden looks so lush. Again, no irrigation, but she does water as needed if we have drought or if we have no rain for a long time. This is a Tradescantia zebrina in the pot. I absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite pots here in this garden. That color just pops, and the pot itself is so unusual. It's almost a round shape. I love this potting bench. As you can see, she has been working on potting her plants here. Just so adorable. I think every gardener can appreciate a good potting bench. Right over here, I wanted to show you this unusual plant that I actually have never seen in the garden before now. This is a variegated Aurelia right here, and apparently very easy to grow, hardy to zone 5. Maybe it's hard to find, that's why I don't see it as often. I am getting one for my garden. I absolutely love this. I have a lot of shade in my garden. I need this in my life. Then there are elephant ears in pots, which elephant ears are always a winner in my book. They provide that bold texture for your garden in the middle of the summer, and they always look good. And now we're in the front yard. So they used to have a tree at the corner of the property, and they lost it. So the front of the property became more of a sunny garden, and a lot of the hostas that they had there had to live here now. So my friend replanted all of the hostas. They look beautiful, they look healthy. She also created this new walkway made out of gravel, and it's edged with a powder coated black edging. I will post a link to where you can get this particular edging. Now about this egg right here. Some of the garden was designed by a landscape designer who helped my friend with the screens and like the AC unit coverage. Most of this garden my friend designed herself. She's very talented. She's working on it herself, and as you can see, it's just absolutely spectacular. But the designer definitely had some input in it and left this a very whimsical architectural feature in the front garden, which is kind of really cute. Anyway, as the walkway continues, you can see all of the hostas and the pachyxandra. And my friend told me this is a very low maintenance garden. She really doesn't have to do a lot of weeding, a lot of watering. Things kind of take care of themselves. And so this is where the tree used to be, and this was all shade, and now it is more sunny area. So she's trying to grow a lot of grasses here, but this is where the shade pretty much starts, and this is where she has Hakinagloa grass, which is one of my most favorite grasses for shade areas. They're just this beautiful element. They're very graceful looking, really bright, especially for darker gardens. And I think this is where we will conclude our tour. I am so grateful that I was able to get out of the house and see this beautiful garden and show it to you guys. I hope you are inspired as much as I am by this garden, because I do have some shady areas in my garden, and I am definitely going to incorporate some of the features that she has here. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you are new here, consider subscribing. I would love to stay in touch with you, and I will see you next time.